What's going on, Squatchers? So in this week's video, I'm going to go over maps. I'm going to focus on a handful of different type of maps and kind of explain what their use is and to give you a little better understanding on how to maneuver around them. So let's turn on those devices and roll out that piece of paper and let's check out our maps. All right, Squatchers, so the first map that I'm going to go over is going to be the political map. A political map is basically a map that shows boundaries that are made by the government themselves. Like here in New Hampshire, a political map would be a map that shows the boundaries between states and the boundaries between towns. And it's kind of an idea to understand where you are, not in a landmark sense, but more in a sense of how us as a civilization has decided to categorize that area of the map. So the main use of a political map would be for you to understand what town or city that you are in or that you're going to be traveling to. The next map we're going to go over is a physical map. A physical map shows you the physical features of the place or county that you are in. And by physical features, I'm referencing mountains, rivers, lakes, streams, desert, forest, anything that is made by Mother Nature. These features are usually shown in almost a color grid, where a lake or a stream or a river will usually be a blue color. Your woods or your forest will be some kind of green, deserts yellow, mountains are usually shown as brown. The next map I'm going to go over is a topographical map. This map also shows physical features, but it does so using what are called contour lines. And the point of these lines are to show you elevation and slopes of the mountain and the ground itself. It's to give you an understanding of what kind of features are in the area that you're going to be going. Is it going to be really steep slopes? Does it go up and down? You can see that by how close the contour lines are and what the number of footage is between them. If you have lines that are really close together with high footage marks, that means that is a very steep area and is going to be hard to traverse, even to the point where it could be a rock face. So topographical maps are very important when it comes to understanding where you are. They also are very useful to understanding what is around you. In case you start to get a little lost, you can take a second, and if you understand how to read your map, you can look around and see what mountain peaks are by you and kind of triangulate the position that you are in. Next, we're going to go over a climate map. A climate map shows what the weather is like in a particular area. Is it a rainforest? Is it a desert? Is it a swamp? And these all will be shown by different colors on the map. A climate map is really useful because it'll give you an idea of what to expect for weather there. They will show you areas where there is a lot of rainfall, areas that are really dry and maybe hard to come across water, or areas where you can expect cold temperatures and snow. So it's definitely a useful map to help you be better prepared for whatever area that you're going to be in. So the last map I'm going to go over is a road map. A road map is a very common map, one that we're used to seeing all the time. They are the maps that tell us what roads to take in cities or how to get from one place to another. They're very useful even while hiking to understand where the roads are and understand, in case you get lost and get down to a road, how to find your way back to either a town or even back to where you parked. So now that I've gone over the different kinds of maps, it's important to understand how to read them. There's certain features that every single map will have, and they really help you understand what is going on those maps. The first one I'm going to go over is the scale. A scale is usually represented by a line down on one of the areas of the map. With that scale, you'll usually see an inch mark, and then there'll be a mileage next to it. And that lets you know how many miles are in 1 inch or 2 inch or however the scale is set. That way you can understand how big the area is that you're looking at, and where you're going somewhere is you have a better understanding how long it's going to take you to get there. Almost every map that you have will have some sort of key. Within that key will be different symbols with an explanation of what those symbols mean. And those will directly correlate with whatever map that you're using, so you can understand what's on that map and you can better understand what the map is trying to tell you. Keys are very important because they really help you understand the area that you're going to be in. All right, so now that we got to the education, what are they out of the way, what kind of maps are there, let's more just go over the nit and grit. Let's talk about why these maps are important and why you shouldn't have just one. By having numerous different kind of maps, you have many different ways to try to figure out where you are, and it's just safer. It's always better to have more knowledge than less. For instance, let's say you took a trail map out, and the trail map that you brought out is almost like a road map, but it is of the trails. And I'll grab one and I'll throw it up over here. And they are easy to understand, but if you get off the trail and you get lost, that trail map really isn't going to do you any good unless you find a trail again. That's where it becomes important to have like a topographical map with you, because now you can be like, I'm all sorts of torn around. I can't see the trail. I can't find the trail. What am I going to do? Right? So now you're sitting around, you look around and you're like, oh, I see a mountain over there that looks to be about X high. Pull out your map, look at your map and be like, okay, so it could be this one or this one. Oh, there's one over there. Looks a little taller. Could be this one. And by using those, you can kind of be like, okay, well, there's a third one. So that means it has to be this region because I can see all three of these. And by looking at their heights, it looks like this. So I must be about here, right? And then understanding direction and using your compass, which we all should have with us, you can find your way back to either the trail or the road. And it's important to have the road map so that way when you hit that road, you can have some understanding of which way you need to go. So now you're not just walking down the road in the wrong direction where it's 20 miles before you get to anything. When in reality, your car was 3 miles that way. You just didn't have the map to understand where you were or where you could have popped out. So it's always important to have multiple sources of maps. And I will always say it's important to have paper maps with you too. Those devices that we have are great. They are awesome. But if it breaks or it loses power or the signal isn't working for some reason and you can't see that map, it is useless to you. Paper maps are always going to be there, and I always highly suggest using them. I'm not going to go into compass work so much in this one. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but it really is important to understand the basic of a compass. You know, to understand what's true north and what's the north on the map. Yes, that can be important depending on what you're trying to do, but as long as you're just trying to get yourself in a ballpark, it's good enough to be able to, okay, so that's north and I got the north on my map, so I have an understanding that this is the way I need to go. Again, I'll go into the true north and the math and how that works if you're trying to land on a certain pinpoint in another video. I don't feel like covering that right now because this video is about maps, not about compasses. But I just want to make sure you understand that the two go together very well and they are a strong tool set. They are solid together as a set. So thank you all for coming along. I think maps are super important to understand, and I think it's definitely something that we all need to be able to use or at least semi-understand. Again, thank you guys for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have a good one, Squatchers.